My name is Shanna and my pronouns are she, her, and I am doing a video series around labels. And the reason that I started this was because I am part of the 2S LGBTQIA+ community, and I struggled for a long time to come out. What really held me back from wanting to come out was that I was scared that I would be defined by that label. But after I came out, I started to have deeper conversations with people around labels and how they are impacting them and how it's impacted them, and really wanting us to move the world together. So I think a way we can do that is through stories and through understanding.
I am Shanna.
Yeah.
I am a daughter. I am a sister. I am a mother. I am a friend. I am divorced. I'm a single mom. I'm a caregiver. There was the one piece about Addie where I was like, I am a mother who's lost a child. Is there a label for that? Like, I didn't know. I am a mother who's caring for a child who is disabled.
When we started the project, we started with labels that were so obvious.
Yes. Yeah.
And then as I talk to people, I'm like, oh, there's a lot of labels that determine how society reacts to you. I think especially with grief with a child.
Yeah.
People don't necessarily know how to ally that, and I think you just have so much knowledge that you can share that is helpful to everyone. You named quite a few labels.
Mm-hmm.
So we can touch on lots.
Yeah.
But maybe we can focus on a couple that have really been obstacles for your life and how society responds to you and expectations and stuff. So what would you say kind of are the biggest ones?
Obviously with the girls, that's who I am. With Cadence, I'm a caregiver. I take care of her, and that is a big piece of who I am.
Yeah.
At this time of my life, for sure. Yeah. Every moment we're dealing with the grief from Addison, so that is the other big piece, the label that I carry right now.
Do you want to tell a little bit of the story of Addie?
Yeah, so Addison, when she was about 7 years old, started losing her mobility. After a couple years of testing, we ended up having a diagnosis of Friedreich's ataxia for Addison, and in about 2015, she became fully wheelchair dependent. And at the same time, her sister Cadence started displaying some of the same mobility issues, and soon after was also diagnosed with Friedreich's ataxia. Addison struggled more with the condition because it progressed quite quickly for her. And in 2020, Addie got sick. We ended up in the hospital. She had a heart condition that's associated with FA, and somehow she picked up the virus or bacteria, and it affected her heart, and her heart stopped. So we lost Addison at 13 years old. It's been 3 years since we lost her, and that is our everyday. I wake up every morning and reminded that my little girl is gone. I go to bed with the same thought. I think of her all day long. I am walking through this journey right now with Cadence and watching her progress as well, and it's really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing this too. Being a mother who's lost a child, how have you found society has reacted different?
I had a hard time after I lost Addie. I was scared to be around others. Say to go back to work, for example. I was worried of how do I talk about the fact that I lost my child. I was worried about, I work with people, so everyone all the time is always like, oh, how many kids do you have? And that's a hard thing to answer. I remember thinking about it and talking to my psychologist about it, how do I approach that? Because I have 2 kids. I will always have 2 kids. But can somebody else handle the fact that I'm also going to say, I have one here, and I'm parenting one that's in heaven.
Right.
That's a big job for me, but can society or who I'm talking with accept the fact that I'm going to say that to you without me feeling like I'm going to hurt you?
Right.
Or it's going to be uncomfortable for you.
Right.
Because I've lost somebody.
Yeah. I am curious, like, what are reactions like when you share that with somebody and you think like, I'm going to share this right now, and what are reactions that are good, I guess, and what are reactions that are like, ugh?
The good reactions and the ones I want is
Yeah.
like, "Oh, what was your child's name? How old were they? Tell me about her." That's what I want to hear. Like, I want to talk about Addison. I love it. I love talking about her, explaining like who she was, how determined she was, how spunky she was, how badass she was, how like, I want to talk about those things. I love it. The reactions that are very hard is when I say, "Oh, I've lost a child," it's like people just stop talking.
Right.
Or they might say, I'm sorry, and then that's it. And you know you've made them feel uncomfortable because of like my situation.
Right.
Yeah.
I think sometimes the fear in people's mind is like, I'm gonna say something wrong,
Yeah.
so they can take
Or
this-
trigger me, right?
Yeah.
Like they're like, "Oh, if I talk about Addie, she's gonna cry." Well, of course I'm gonna cry. I'm
Right.
sad.
Yeah.
I lost my child. But there's a big thing in the piece of like grief that I have learned, and it's taken me a long time to understand it. You can experience joy and pain in the exact same moment.
Right.
And so when I think about Addison, that's pain. But I think about her and I have more joy
Right.
about the life that we had together and my memories that I have of her and my ability to be able to speak about her.
Right.
There will always be pain. It will
Right.
never go away. But joy can it's powerful.
Right.
Mhm.
And yeah, I guess it's being very human. Like if somebody tells you something, you acknowledge it
Yes.
and you ask questions.
Yes.
And you
Yeah.
continue the conversation.
Probably one of my like greatest joys is to talk about Addison. So, you know, if someone asks about my child who's not here anymore, it's so easy to share.
Right.
And I love to share, and you'll probably see me light up to share about her,
Right.
which I hope would make the person I'm speaking with feel comfortable as well and want to ask more. So
Right.
now you've engaged in that. And it doesn't mean that the whole entire conversation is around the fact that I've lost my child, but it's a big piece of who I am.
Right. If I ask about your kids and you're offering that information,
Yes.
it's an in.
Well, there's a sense of like vulnerability,
Right.
right? And if you feel, I keep using the word comfortable, but if you feel comfortable to be vulnerable with the person you're speaking with, your conversation, like you're going to engage so much better.
Right.
And then in turn, I know for myself, I will always ask about you.
Right.
I wouldn't just leave it at this like awkwardness about, oh, you know, like making you walk away feeling uncomfortable because now I've talked about my child I've lost, but I'm going to ask you about you. Like, this is how conversations start. This is how you get to know people.
Right.
Like, really all we want, right?
Yeah.
We all want that.
Just having that back and forth, because I do think sometimes people just freeze.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're prepared and know what to ask and what to say, then
And I don't know that anyone can be prepared
right.
for like an answer. Like, it's very simple for you, you know, to meet somebody and be like, "Oh, I see you're a mom. How many kids do you have?" Would you ever be prepared for someone to say to you, "Well, I lost one and one's here"? Like,
Right.
nobody's prepared for that.
Right.
So I think to take a second and to breathe and be like, "I'm so sorry.
Right.
What
And
was
then
your
next.
child's name?" Or something.
Yeah.
You don't need to be like, "How did they die?" That's not what you need to ask about. But I think to acknowledge the fact that I just shared something very, very vulnerable and important to me.
Yeah.
So see it.
Right.
Are you comfortable with sharing some more about your dad or whichever? And some people would be like, "Not right now." You could get that response because, you know, I mean, I don't know that I've done that with Addie. I mean, maybe in the past I did, but there's probably like a, "Not today,"
Right.
or "I can't today," or, "You know how I am. I'm going to cry right now.
Right. Yeah.
And then I'm going to be okay."
Yeah.
So if you can accept that and handle the fact that I'm going to shed some tears
Yeah.
because that's just what comes, and then I'll probably be smiling by the end of it, right? Like, it's,
Right.
I love talking about her. And as I'm sure anybody does that has lost somebody.
Are there any situations, I'm just curious, where you don't share that? Like where, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's been times where I don't feel like that's a conversation that I want to have, say with like, I'm just trying to, I'm using work as an example because there's times that I haven't shared with my patients. I think some people can't handle it.
Right.
And I know that.
Yeah.
And so just to have an easy conversation it pains me to not include Addie in it though.
Right.
Like if I was to say, oh, I just have one child.
It's making me think about a lot of things of like what we hide because we're
Yes.
worried about other people's reactions.
We are always worried about other people's.
Yeah.
When we're leading up to say like Addison's birthday, like those are hard dates for us and hard times, and like we kind of pull back because we don't want to make everybody else feel uncomfortable around us because we're sad.
Right.
Like we have to celebrate another birthday without her.
So then leading up to Addison's birthday, who are people that have shown up and how do they show up?
You know, I'll start getting the messages of like, what are we going to do to honor her? How are we doing this? And we like to go big for her because she's a big presence, right?
Right.
So we always have like some sort of like party that we'll do. Like this year we went axe throwing and we all wore tie-dye for her because she loves tie-dyeing.
So it's people kind of taking the initiative too.
Mm-hmm. Yes. People reaching out to us and like, you know, I'll get messages saying like, I know these days are hard leading up to say Addie's birthday. How can we help support you? Her birthday's in January, so we kind of come out of Christmas, out of New Year's, and then into her birthday. So it's like, you know, those are all occasions that are hard. Going into a new year without her is a hard reminder. Like, here I am showing up for another year.
Right.
Without my child.
Yeah.
Like, and time keeps going.
I like that, reaching out but taking the initiative
Mm-hmm.
and doing things.
Yeah.
And doing things they know that they would love because that fills you up as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. This is a hard one, but can you describe a moment around the label where it's been a really tough situation?
Like as a mom of grief.
Yeah.
A lot of it's lonely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I live it every single day and every single moment. So it's very lonely.
Yeah.
I really feel the need to protect everybody around me from the pain.
Right.
So I think like for me and for Cadence, we stay very like withdrawn at a lot of moments. So when we have the times like the occasions of like Addison's birthdays and stuff, when everybody shows up, we're so welcoming. We want to embrace all that because it's so lonely going through grief. Nobody knows like the pain of it. Nobody knows the moments of everything, like the reminders, the triggers, you carry it all on your own, for sure. For sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Are there any questions that would be like that you don't want to hear from people, or
why are you so sad when you knew that they were diagnosed with terminal illnesses? I should let it go. I should have moved on by now. I should be better by now. I shouldn't be as sad.
Yeah.
And I think until you've experienced it, you don't know. And that probably has a lot to do with like that lonely part of it. You know, you kind of pull back because you don't want people to see all your grief all the time.
Right.
But it's there.
Yeah.
It's there. It doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
It's not leaving.
And somebody's not going to make it better.
No.
No matter what they do or say, or I guess for people watching would be,
Mm-hmm.
to acknowledge the feelings that you're having.
Mm-hmm.
Not try to fix them, but I guess like how can people be alongside you?
I think just to sit with it, like sit with me. I don't need words. I don't need anything, but I need some comfort. I need to maybe not feel so alone. And that's what I mean by sit with me. Like just sit in the grief, sit in the moment, sit in the joy, show up.
Right.
It's hard because we're all human. And I know for me, I've met, unfortunately, a lot of mothers and fathers who have also lost children because it's just like this terrible connection that we now have.
Right.
And I can't say that I know exactly what to say to them. You learn.
Right.
So I think to show up, that would be my answer. I think we're not all going to make it right all the time.
And it can change.
Yeah.
Would it, I'm just curious, like, would you think like asking the person going through it, what are questions you want me to ask? Instead of guessing and trying and like, being awkward, it's like, what do you need from me?
One of the things I have really learned is to not, hi, how are you? How are you? Because that's hard to answer. It's a common thing that we would all say. I'm learning the words of like, how are you managing? Because you're more likely to share how you're managing, because you might be like, this week has been terrible, versus how are you? How are you? I'm good. Good, you? Right? Like that's what we all do.
Yeah.
So it's presenting it different.
Right.
And being a little bit more vulnerable with like how you're asking the question, because then you'll get more of a vulnerable answer.
Right.
I think letting people know that you're holding space for them, where in your heart, like that you're thinking of them always, like just reminding people of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a big one.
If you were going to go back to tell like your little self something about what's to come, what would be the advice that you would give to yourself?
To my younger self,
Yeah.
it would probably learn to breathe.
Yeah.
Learn to breathe better at like, I think we all need that. And until you're in something like with pain, with grief, diagnosis is all those things, like you're so heightened and no one really teaches you properly.
Right.
I know that seems like such a vague comment, but I think learning to breathe through anything, it's like any comment, like for yourself, for you and Steph, like for what you see, for how people acknowledge you, and like as a couple, like you need to have that moment to learn to breathe.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you would know to walk away or to respond, or it's the same for any situation.
Breathing's huge. And I think for people like us that are very hyper aware of everybody around us, the breathing is so important to honor the fact that we actually get a moment to breathe.
Yes.
And if somebody asks us something, we have a moment and don't have to automatically respond and give the right answer and not have somebody feel uncomfortable.
We're always treading. Yeah.
Fix. Yeah. I know Steph and I were in the cab going to Ottawa last week, and then the driver was like, "Are you guys sisters?" We're like, "No, we definitely don't look like that."
Yeah.
But, "Are you friends?" And we're like, "Oh, we're partners." "You're what?" We're like, "We're partners." And then Steph's like, "Fiancés," and he's just like, and then you go through the moment. But in the past, I don't think we would have said it.
You wouldn't have.
No. What would your wisdom or advice, I guess, for you to be to people watching this who haven't lost a child or haven't experienced grief? How can they show up as allies for you? Or for people in their lives?
That's a hard one to answer, because like it's like the answer is in the words you just said. Show up.
Right.
Like that is a big piece of it. I think we all need people to show up for us in this world, despite whatever you're going through, and to keep showing up.
Right.
Would be another part of it.
Because it's easy at the beginning.
Yeah, always.
Right?
Yeah. But even like I said, like we lost Addie 3 years ago, and I'm still exactly in the same amount of pain.
Right.
And there are people that are still showing up for me.
Right.
And I see them, for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's okay to still talk about the person, and it's very important to talk about the person. And obviously for me, I would want to do it all the time because I lost a child. And so I think that I don't even know how to say this properly, but like it's okay. We should all be more accepting of the fact that like be comfortable with the uncomfortableness of like conversations.
Right. And knowing it's okay not to have the answer.
Yeah.
And just to be there. It's acknowledging that everybody is different. Everyone deals with things differently, but it's almost just being really upfront with people and not skirting, right? It's like, I'm acknowledging, like, I see what's happening, but I can't know what's best for you.
Right.
So it being okay to ask, like, is this okay for me to ask these questions?
Yeah.
And please tell me if I'm doing something that is upsetting you, and And maybe it's for all of these labels on both sides, having that compassion that we're not going to get it right. But if we leave the lines of communication open, we can.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to say something that's not right.
Yeah.
But if
you have the compassion to show up and like be there for the person,
yeah,
that is what is going to be acknowledged.
Right.
Not that you said to me, "Hi, how are you?"
Right.
Or, how do you think I am? Right? Like,
yeah.
But I would know you were there. And then you would also learn in those moments, like kind of how I said, instead of the "Hi, how are you?" You'd be like, "How are you managing?
Right.
Can you sit? I just want to sit with you. I
Yeah.
just want to be here." Right? Like
Yeah. And that's almost everything. I think sometimes we're so scared of getting something wrong that we don't do anything.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So then that's so much more harmful than
Yeah.
me being like, I'm going to make a mistake in this scenario.
But I'm going to be right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But please know I'm coming from the right spot, and I am willing to learn, and I am willing to change, and my heart is here.
Yeah.
And then if that's from both sides, then you can actually move somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then it'll all become comfortable.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And easier.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I think that's, people are so scared, especially with language these days, they're going to use the wrong term or
Yes.
like, or say the wrong thing. But then I think the moment you say something wrong and someone corrects you, you're like, oh, it wasn't that bad.
Right.
But they'll also know that you can change and develop. And I think that comes with all these labels. It feels seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's all you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We all do.
Yeah.
I think, to be seen.
Yeah.
Why don't you talk about Addie a little bit?
How do you even say it? Like, she owns the room she's in. Like, anybody around her.
Her laugh.
Her laugh.
Yeah.
Oh, it like just infectious. And she loves people. Like, she wanted everyone to just be happy in each other's presence. And she wanted everybody to be seen, which is pretty cool now that like this was our conversation.
Right.
She's always rooting for the underdog, always. And she would go in a room and she would see somebody who needed somebody. Like it was a cool gift, I think, that she has. She was so determined to do everything. And even as she was losing her mobility, we had to do more things. Like we had to get everything in. I remember like wheelchair basketball, skiing, horseback riding. Wheelchair dancing was like her and Cadence, Addison and Cadence's like love.
It was beautiful.
It was so beautiful to see them learn because they both had danced when they were able. They continued dancing, and it was like she has this like legacy that she's carrying on and teaching all of us. And for her, when you're told you can't dance, you keep dancing anyways. And that is like Addison, like we picture her wherever it is she is, dancing, always dancing. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a beautiful girl.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Smiling at you.
Yeah.
It's like, here's the picture with your logo on it.
Yeah.
Little credit for you there.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thanks for doing it.
Thank you.
It's nice to see
It's
you.
nice to talk about her.
Good.
I love it.
The big reason that we're wanting to do this is I think a lot of times people want to help. I like to think that people have good hearts. They want to help and they want to understand people, but they don't know how to take that step, don't know how to be an ally. They don't know what questions to ask, what questions not to ask. And I'm hoping like through this series that people are able to watch it and maybe take that next step.